What is up, beautiful people? Not above but equal. Before the greatest show I walk amongst my people, it is another fight card down with a quick turnaround. UFC 262 is complete, and UFC Fight Night Font versus Garbrandt is on the horizon this weekend. Real quick, running through this main card for UFC 262. The surprise of the night, honestly, to me would probably be that Edson Barboza versus Shane Burgos knockout. I wasn't surprised that he knocked him out. I was just surprised at how delayed it was. It was like he just got hit by something, and like 10 seconds later, his entire body just completely shut down. He fell back super duper hard. Co-main event, Dariush versus Ferguson was not that surprising to me. I mean, Tony looked pretty good on the feet. He looked like, that training. I believe he was training with Freddie Roach. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I was getting some good boxing in. I mean, his head movement looked good. Everything was looking good. His footwork was looking really good. It just seems like he might have been neglecting the wrestling, neglecting the jiu-jitsu or something, because he's been getting out-wrestled, out-grappled by his last couple opponents, and now he's on a 3-fight skid, and he's been losing outside of the Justin Gaethje fight. He's been losing to nothing but grappling. So now the Khabib fight is one of the funniest jokes in the history of jokes now, because he can't wrestle. Similar to kind of how the Adesanya Jones thing went, except for the fact that Adesanya obviously is a champion in another weight class. He was trying to go for the double champ thing. I mean, and look, it happens. All time greats have lost. If you fight long enough, you're going to lose. I mean, I don't care how it is. It could be by disqualification, like John Jones. It could be by decision, like Israel Adesanya. It could be by knockout, like certain people. There have been some great people that have been stopped and finished and still have had great careers. So it is what it is. But Ferguson is on the latter half of his career. Doesn't really look like he's improving much on the ground, and has been getting dominated his last couple fights. I mean, Justin Gaethje dominated him outside of the second round. After you got him with that nice uppercut, he was getting pieced up, getting hit with some bombs. Then he got destroyed by Charles Oliveira, almost got his arm broken. And now he got beat on by Beneil Dariush. So that is a 3-fight skid. I don't know who he's gonna fight next. I mean, maybe Chandler, but I feel like if he loses to Chandler, then it's done. I mean, he's gonna be like probably doing mid-card fights or whatever for the next couple years, and I'm not sure if he's gonna want to do that. So we'll have to see what the future holds for Tony Ferguson. But it is what it is. And on to the main event, Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. I was pulling for Michael Chandler just because I do like the Cinderella story that is Michael Chandler. Guy that fought outside the UFC for 10 plus years. Really took the bull by the horns and jumped in here with both feet, jumped in head first, and took on every task that was offered to him, whether it was the backup for Gaethje versus Khabib, whether it was fighting Dan Hooker, and whether it was taking his title fight. I mean, he said yes to everything and got what he deserved. Unfortunately, it did not pan out for him, but fortunately for Charles Oliveira, he was able to take him out in pretty shocking fashion in the second round, because it looked like he was going to definitely be struggling after that first round. He spent a lot of energy trying to get a submission on Chandler. Chandler was able to fight out, ended up on top, raining down some big bombs, dropped him with some big shots. It was raining down punches with some great ground and pound. And the second round came in, and Charles Oliveira just seemed like he had some new juice in his system, and he just came out guns blazing and was able to take him out and finish him. But both guys vets. It was a good fight. I think this fight card was good, but I feel like the last couple have been a lot better, just because like I think like the style, obviously the styles and things like that. But it really seems like this is like the year of like the veterans getting ready to be on their way out. Like Woodley is on his way out. If he's not, if he is still with the UFC, that I'm not quite sure. Tony Ferguson is on his way out. Anderson Silva retired this year. So a lot of like the OGs could be, obviously he's been retired for a minute. A lot of the OGs of the game have really stepped aside, and now a lot of like the leaders in new school are coming through, or those guys that are in like that middle part of their career where they're like early 30s and they still have a large chunk of their career to go, are still in there. I mean, obviously like Wonder Boy, he's doing his thing. He's one of the few like older guys that are really, really staying strong and still being able to compete and stuff like that. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Another card in the books, and then we have Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font, which is the next UFC fight night, which I'm interested to see. I mean, I know there's been a lot of chatter back and forth between Cody Garbrandt and at one time Sean O'Malley. They were going back and forth. Sean O'Malley just won his last fight, bouncing back after that devastating loss to Chito Vera, even though he says that he did not get defeated. He did lose. I mean, but again, I'm still down with the Sugar Show. But now we have Cody Garbrandt, a guy that is really reinvented himself. I mean, still super young, really, really hungry guy, and has kind of like stopped beating himself, because I know he had an interview on the JRE, Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan Experience, where he just talked about how difficult it was to balance his emotions. Like when he fought TJ Dillashaw, he was just punching with hate in his hands, as opposed to just punching technically and staying technical and staying in the fight. It was just super duper amped up, and it ended up with him getting finished twice. It ended up with him going on a 3-fight skid and having to take some massive time off to deal with that, taking a lot of unnecessary damage, and he came back in his last fight with that walk-off home run, Mark Hunt style KO, knocking that man into outer space, and now he is going back for another fight after dealing with some illnesses. Of course, if you know the way the world is, you know what illness I'm talking about. And now he's going in there to fight Rob Font in another great UFC fight night card at the UFC Apex. Now it's interesting just because I feel like now they're using the Apex a lot more. I feel like that's a good way to kind of like build prospects and maybe just have like a lot lesser known fighters on there, or fighters that are just trying to get in the title picture and things like that, and still get eyes on it like through ESPN Plus and all that other stuff, but not have as much, I guess, media obligations and things like that are required for like a big pay-per-view. But I still say that the events with the fans are the best. People are a lot more aggressive. It's just a lot, like the environment is a lot more interesting. People get a lot more hype. I mean, obviously you got the fans going crazy, you got the commentators going crazy. The energy is just different. And again, like you got, like, it's performers. Like what kills me about some people is they'll say like, "Oh well, I can't fight without the fans." I'm like, dude, what happened when you were broke? No one gave a fuck about your name. No one gave a fuck who you were. You were fighting without fans. Same thing with, I hear like freaking NBA players saying the shit. It's like, dude, you're getting paid hundreds of millions of fucking dollars to play in a facility that no one is in, and you're complaining about that. Like, bro, like, suck it up. You know how many people in this world don't have jobs? Like, this is outside of the podcast, but seriously, like, this is real talk. You know how many people like lost their jobs during the period of time that we've been having in the States, let alone in the world, with the way things are. Tons of people have had to shut down gyms, shut down restaurants, etc., etc. And you're bitching and complaining because you don't have fans in there, or you're bitching and complaining because you do have fans. Like, bro, you're getting paid in some cases millions of dollars to fight, or to dribble a basketball, or to throw a football. Get over it. Get over it. At the end of the day, your job is to play. Your job is to fight. Your job is to throw the ball. Your job is to score goals. Your job is to do whatever your sport is, and you chose to make that a profession. That's your job. Like, I'm a stunt performer. My job is to hit the ground. My job is to get beat up. That's what my job is, and obviously a myriad of other things. But you get my point. I can't be out here complaining about getting an opportunity to provide for myself, provide for my family, pursue my dreams, etc., and expect people to feel bad when there are people that aren't working, don't have jobs, struggling check to check, etc. You can't expect people to feel bad for you. It's like, dude, what do you want? Do you want to complain and whine and not play? Or do you want to play and make all these millions of dollars? And you want to fight and make these hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars? You got to pick your poison, okay? At the end of the day. But with that being said, I am extremely glad that there are fans that are back. I would love to go to a UFC event one day. Definitely something on the bucket list. If they ever come back to Atlanta, I will definitely make my way over there and get me some tickets to go see some fights. I would love to have like a Adesanya fight, or I think who else I would want to see fight. I would say probably like Adesanya maybe fight. I do like how Oliveira fights, so maybe some Oliveira fights. There's someone super fun, super hyped to watch, because I would love to watch a high level fight in the UFC. Anyway, that being said, man, thank you guys so much for listening. Every Friday, and I might go back and add Mondays since their cards have been ramping up. I might, says a big might, but I might go back and add some Mondays. But anyway, man, with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. And we must now exit the dojo. Us.